Kip Up!
Tony Khan doesn't care about women's wrestling. Hello, this is the Kip Up. I'm Will, and today I'm starting a new series on this channel. This is the first of many where I analyze the booking for the AEW women's division and come to the conclusion that Tony Khan doesn't care about women's wrestling. Let's focus on Dynamite today, okay? Dynamite is AEW's 2-hour flagship show. It's the show that gets the most eyeballs and has Tony Khan's full attention every week. It's where the company highlights and pushes the stories they really care about. So if Tony Khan gave a damn about women's wrestling, you would see a strong presence on this show. But we don't. In fact, women are often given one cult segment per show in the same time slot with little time to get over. It's like the whole women's division is a token gesture. If you didn't care about women's wrestling, but felt forced to have it to avoid controversy, this is how you would book it. Okay, no joke. Let's use the latest episode of Dynamite as an example. On August 17th, on an episode of Dynamite, the women were given one match on the program. Toni Storm versus Kai-Lin King. If you're wondering who the hell is Kai-Lin King, don't worry, you're not alone. She's not even under AEW contract. King was a regular on AEW Dark for 2 years, but if you're a casual AEW fan, a person who just watches Dynamite and the occasional Rampage, you have no idea who this woman is. I don't know why he does this. Random women popping up out of nowhere with minimal setup. It's asinine and typical for an episode of Dynamite. So you have Toni Storm taking on insert wrestler here for about 7 minutes right before the main event. This is known as the death slot.
We get some women's action. It was almost 9:30. That train's never late. That train's never late.
It's the period right before the main event where fans can take the opportunity to use the bathroom or get drinks before the main event. This is where he keeps putting the women's matches. It's almost as if he's trying to bury the match. So you have this match with no build, no heat, no story, with half of it being a picture-in-picture commercial break. Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to pay attention to a match during a picture-in-picture commercial break. We don't like watching wrestling that way. Toni Storm, of course, wins. No one expects the woman who is not even signed to win on Dynamite. It then cuts to your champion clapping at the screen backstage. No promo, nothing. This is supposed to function as build toward Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa at the next pay-per-view. And that's it for the women on Dynamite. Ridiculous. Now, it would be one thing if this was just a one-off, but this is the norm for the women on Dynamite. 9 out of the last 10 weeks, the lone women's match on Dynamite has been in the same time slot and has run on average for about 7 to 8 minutes. They're not investing in these women, and it shows. The audience doesn't care. And why is that? Some will say, the women don't draw, bro. Folks, how can you expect the viewers to care about these women when the booker clearly doesn't? Of course they don't care. They're not booked the same way as the men. Tony Khan has conditioned AEW fans to not care about the women's division. They're simply not given the time or the spotlight to get over. They're not given the same level of storytelling. Booking women's matches shouldn't be any different than booking for the men. Give them time and tell stories. Simple. There was a time when the women in WWE were an afterthought. That has changed. The women were given the time, given the spotlight and respect, and now the WWE has massive female stars who are on par and even more popular than some of the top men. They invested in their women's division, and now they are reaping the benefits. Tony Khan could do the same thing, but he doesn't care. Maybe if he pushed his women's division to the forefront, Dynamite ratings would be higher over time. Believe it or not, there are people who watch wrestling just for the women, and they are heading over to the WWE because the women are heavily featured on Raw and SmackDown. Oh, and that won't be the only thing heading over. Some of the top women in AEW are going to cross the street and sign up with the WWE if this trend continues. This isn't some new development, by the way. Tony Khan is well aware of the criticism of his women's division. Folks have been vocal about this for years.
There are some big issues with AEW, namely, Tony Khan doesn't give a shit about women's wrestling. Don't comment about that in the comments because he doesn't. It's clear he doesn't. Come on. That needs to change.
It just seems wild that there's like 1 or 2 women's segments every show, and then they're right next to each other in the same hour, same segment, and your main women's champion is just an afterthought. And it's like, what are you doing? You can't build a credible division that people care about that way. That's just not how that works.
It's a shame. It's a shame the way they treat the women's divisions. There's too many talented women in this roster for it to be treated this way. You put a match on TV on the same crappy TV spot with somebody that we have no clue who she is. So how are we supposed to be invested here? You're putting all of the pressure on Toni Storm because we don't know who her opponent is. She's been on Dark. Not everybody watches Dark. And you turn Thunder Rosa into a backstage person watching a TV for the majority of her entire title run. And that's a shame. The women's division is always last on Tony Khan's list. And we need to do better with it. I didn't like any of this.
The man is running out of excuses. The talent is there, he simply doesn't care. And the way he books Dynamite exposes it. Whew, okay guys, that's it for this video. I will continue this series of videos until the AEW women's division improves. Next video, I think I'll focus on the booking of Jade Cargill. Boy, I have some issues. Do me a favor, please like this video and leave a comment. It will help a lot. Remember to subscribe for more, and I will see you later.
Kip up!